Hello, parents and students. Today, I want to share a math lesson with you involving 3MD2, which is measuring and estimating liquid volumes of objects using standard units such as liters. We will also be either adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing one-step word problems. So we're going to focus on identifying or showing items that can be measured in liquid volume units. We will estimate some items, and we will also solve one-step word problems involving liquid volume. Another word for liquid volume would be capacity. So let's take a look at this item to see what we already know and use what we already know. And it reads, Zeke has a small bucket and a large bucket. Here's my example of a small bucket, and here's an example of a large bucket. He wants to know how much water each of the two buckets can hold. He has a ruler, here's our ruler, and a measuring cup. Here it is. How can Zeke measure the amounts of water each bucket can hold? So if we go back and think about a ruler, we should remember that rulers measure length. So therefore, if we're trying to figure out the amounts of water each bucket can hold, we should not use a ruler. We should use this, and this is called a measuring cup. In order to fill in these buckets, we can fill in these measuring cups up to the top and keep track of how many times we do that, and that would tell us the amount of water that each bucket can hold. So when you measure how much water is in a bucket, guess what you are measuring? You are measuring liquid volume. There are standard units for measuring liquid volume. A liter, and I want you to remember that word, is a standard unit of liquid volume. You can measure the number of liters in a container by using a measuring cup or a liter beaker. Here is an example of a measuring cup, which measures a liter. Pictures can also help us figure out and understand how much liquid 1 liter is. So here is an example of a water bottle. The amount of water in a large water bottle would be about 1 liter. The amount of milk in 4 small cartons would be also about 1 liter. And then the amount of milk in 1/4 of a gallon would be about 1 liter. So we have marked that off for you. Okay? I also have some examples over here that you can also use. Whatever items you have at home, you may use those. So with these items here, this item is about 1 liter. We can compare these other objects to this 1 liter object here and figure out if it's less than 1 liter or more than 1 liter. So if I put this water bottle beside this 1 liter water bottle, I can tell that this will be less than 1 liter because it's not the same size, it's smaller. Now, if I move this water bottle beside it, I can tell that this water bottle would be more than 1 liter. So now you try it. I want you to look at this item. Would this be more than 1 liter or less than 1 liter? I hope you said less than 1 liter. This is very small. It is less than 1 liter. Let's try this. This lemon juice bottle, would that be more than 1 liter or less than 1 liter? I hope you guessed that it is less than 1 liter. Now let's try this one. The bubble container. Would this be more than 1 liter or less than 1 liter? Think. This will be about the same as 1 liter. They are about the same size. So those are some examples that you can also use at home to help your child figure out the amounts that would be equal to, less than, or more than 1 liter. So let's try it. We can use a picture of the liter carton and what you just learned to help you estimate the liquid volume of each container. Now this is in your book on page 233. But let me remind you that the items that we have here are drawn a little bit larger than the items that you have in your actual book. So your answers may be different. So let's look at this one. I can figure out that this container, if I put it inside this carton, I can figure out that it probably would be about 1 liter. Now here we are estimating, okay? And when you estimate, you you are just making a reasonable guess. Let's look at number 8. This carton, if I fit it inside this container, it would take about 2 of those containers in order to have or fit inside of this item. All right? So another thing that we can do is word problem. Picturing. You can use a model to help you solve the problem. Here is our model that we have drawn down here. And it goes along with this word problem that reads, Maria has a cooler full of 8 liters of lemonade. She wants to put the lemonade into pictures to place on the tables at her party. Each picture holds 2 liters. How many pictures will Maria need? Okay, so when I look at this item here, this picture that we have drawn, we have already marked off where the 1 liter mark is, and then we have the 2 liter mark. Now, in order for me to figure out how many pictures will Maria need, I'm going to need to mark off every 2 liters. Another strategy that you can use to solve this word problem is called the cubes strategy. I have already done some of this for you, but when you think of the cube strategy, the first thing you can think of is circling the important numbers. So if you notice, I've circled 8 liters and I circled 2 liters. The next thing that you could do is underline the question. The question again reads, how many pictures will Maria need? That's important for us to know in order to solve this problem. The next thing you can do is box in the important words. So I noticed that each is here, and each is going to be an important word. A lot of times we just see how many and we think that we should automatically add. But each is up here as well. So when we see each, we need to remember that we could either multiply or divide. Now when I look at this word problem, I notice that I see that the container is already full, and it is full with 8 liters. So that is my total. So therefore I do not need to multiply, I need to divide. Okay? So if I divide, this will be my division problem. 8, which is the total, divided by 2 liters would equal to 4 liters. When you write your answer, you want to make sure that you label it. So since we are talking about liters, we're going to label our answers with liters. Okay? And I'm going to pull this off. When you look at this picture, you can also use it to get the same exact answer. So remember, we will mark it off by 2 liters. So therefore, I'm going to mark the next 2 liters. This will be 2 liters. This is another 2 liters. And we have one more set of 2 liters. Now, I can count how many times I wrote 2 liters, and that should help me also get the same answer. So if I count, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that the answer became the same as 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Since we've gone over this, let's try one more together. Now this word problem reads, Jack's mom has a 3-liter bottle of liquid laundry soap. Sophie's mom has a 5-liter bottle of liquid laundry soap. They want to combine the 2 bottles in one big container. How many liters must the big container be able to hold? And notice here it says, show your work. Now this is found on page 236 in your Ready Math book. When it says show your work, you want to either draw something or you want to write an equation. Here I'm going to show you how to write an equation based on what we just did on the problem before. Okay? Again, we're going to use the cube strategy to solve this problem. So remember, C means to circle the numbers. So I have circled 3 liters and 5 liters. The U tells you to underline the question. So if I look up here, I notice that the question reads, how many liters must the big container be able to hold? Now we're going to box in those clue words, those important words. How many? We see that again. And in most word problems, we notice that how many would be there. But we want to also look throughout this problem to see if we have other important words. So I have already shown you that combine is an important word. Now when we think of combine, we should think of an operation that we should use. Can you think of the operation for combine? I hope that you said add. So, when we look at the E says evaluate. That's what I just did. I just evaluated this problem to try to figure out how to solve the problem. Since I found out that how many and combine means add, now I can solve the problem. That's what S stands for. So the equation that I'm going to write is going to be 3 liters plus 5 liters. Can you guess what 3 plus 5 equals to? Yes, 3 plus 5 equals 8. So our answer is going to be 8 liters. Again, don't forget to label your answer. Okay? Now, I want you to think about what I just shared with you. I just shared that you could identify objects for liquid volume. I give you some examples of some things that you could use at home. You can estimate for liquid volume, and remember, estimate means reasonable guess, okay? And you can also solve word problems for liquid volume. Now, what I want you to do is make sure that when you get your Ready Math books, that you practice on these items. You can use pages 237 through 239. Also, if you have access to the internet, make sure that you are working and practicing on Waggle. You can do Study Island, or especially iReady. Okay? And the most important thing that we want you to do is stay safe. Thank you for listening.